Factor Electronics. Thanks for joining us today. Okay, today we're going to be talking about the X530 and the X560 commercial background music and paging amplifiers. These amplifiers are designed around ultimate reliability, flexibility, and they're very, very easy to use. Now, where would you use an amplifier like this? In any installation that requires background music and paging. Commercial installations like restaurants, bars, schools, hotels, convention centers, retail outlets, warehouses, the list goes on and on and on. These are very versatile amplifiers. So let's take a look at the front panel. On the left-hand side, we have 3 mic or line inputs with volume controls. It's very easy. Turn a source up, turn a source down. We have an auxiliary input on a volume control. Then we have our treble and bass controls. Then we move over to a large volume knob and an LED display. Now this is really all your customer needs to do is turn this up and turn this down to adjust the volume in their installation. There's also a power switch on the front panel. Okay, let's take a quick look at the back panel. Let's see over on the right hand side, we have 3 microline inputs. These are called combo jacks. Now these jacks will accept a multitude of connectors. XLR connectors, as you can see, will plug directly in. 1/4-inch connectors will plug directly in. If you have an RCA cable, you can easily convert it to 1/4-inch by using a 1/4-inch to RCA bullet like this one, and you can plug directly back panel. Now these are microline inputs. There's a slide switch above them that selects either mic level, line level, or PHT level, and PHT is phantom power, and that provides 24 volts DC to desktop paging microphones or podium microphones that you might use in a house of worship. So you can select that individually on each one of these channels. Moving over here, we have the auxiliary input. So here's where you would connect a CD player, a Blu-ray player, or perhaps like an M20 Wi-Fi streamer, and we'll get into that a little later on. You can actually control this amplifier wirelessly through the M20 Wi-Fi streamer. Beside that, we have the line output, and the line output can be used to take to other amplifiers, for daisy chaining amplifiers, or perhaps to a powered subwoofer if you want to augment the low frequencies. This is a line out and a preamp in. This can be taken to audio processors like a 31 band EQ, or perhaps a compressor if you want to do some audio processing to the signal. Moving along, we have a slide selector switch here for the voltage. So this is North American 110 volt or European standard 220 volt power supply, and all you have to do is select the power supply for your region, use the correct power cable for your region, and the correct fuse for your region. As I mentioned before, these amplifiers are designed around ultimate reliability. If you look at the back of this amplifier, the X530 is a 30 watt amp and the X560 is a 60 watt amplifier, and they both include internal cooling fans. You don't find that on a lot of 30 and 60 watt amplifiers. Also, internally we're using a toroidal transformer as our main power supply transformer, and that is a very robust, very clean transformer. Most companies use a lower cost EI transformer. Moving along, we have a telephone paging section, so you can connect telephone systems directly to this amplifier. We have a plus-minus ground balanced input. You can also use an unbalanced tip and ring input from isolated telephone input. So there's no physical connection between the telephone system and the amplifier. And this is beneficial because some telephone systems might have DC on their outputs, and they might have noise on their outputs. This physically separates the amp from the telephone system and gives you a crisp, clean page without any noise. Moving along, there's an MOH section. MOH stands for Music on Hold, and that's used in businesses where you might have a telephone system, and when your customers call in and they go on hold, they want to hear a steady stream of background music, and this will provide it. And if there's any paging going on internally in the amplifier, the page will not be broadcast on the MOH output. There's an additional 4 ohm output on this amplifier that can be taken directly to a speaker in a lobby if you want a continuous stream of background music. Moving along to the output section, we have 24 volt DC emergency backup power inputs. So if you connect this to a UPC, an uninterrupted power supply, even if the power goes out, you can still make emergency pages through this amplifier. There's a common 4 ohm, 25 volt, 70 volt, and 100 volt outputs. Now keep in mind that you can only use one of those outputs at a time, but we do provide 4 ohm, 25 volt, 70 volt, and 100 volt outputs, which covers all of North America and also Europe. Moving along, we have the AC input, and we also have a ground screw, so if you get any ground loops or ground hums, you can run a wire to earth ground and ground out the chassis. Anyways, that's the back panel on the X530 and X560 commercial paging amplifiers. Thanks a lot for joining us today, and for more information on our products, please visit us at www.factorelectronics.com.